Arizona State.
Arizona State, my bad. Arizona State. Why did I say Iowa? Because I'm thinking Kittle and I've heard. Yeah. So the point is, I guess his wife or girlfriend was taping. He's talking to Jaden Daniels, and he says, they said they don't want me back.
Wow.
I mean, okay, go ahead. Just go ahead. You start.
I'm going to start, but I didn't start this. This has been going on since the end of the Super Bowl. And people throw rocks at you and me or any other person that'll write an article, our other co-host, because we share what we're seeing and what we're reading, and we're all different. But for me to hear one Brandon Aiyuk, for everybody to see, they said, they being the Niners, they don't want me to back. Quit burying your head in the sand under the pillow. I'm an Aiyuk fan. I don't want him to leave. But Steiny, you could call whatever you think this is, whatever word you want to use. To me, that man told us what we thought we didn't know. They don't want me back. And I'm sure that is predicated on the number that they offered him or have not offered him. And after hearing that, my friend, I think it is imminent. A trade is coming, and if I'm Aiyuk's coach, which is current coach, Kyle or GM, that is not good for anybody in the building to see that going around and making this round. He is a grown-ass man, Aiyuk, and for him to say, and I'm taking it face value, they don't want me back, he ain't coming back. And I'm shocked.
I don't necessarily think that.
Okay.
I can just tell you the way my brain my brain operates, and it's weird. Yeah. I'll admit it.
You're weird. We're both weird.
Right. So it's a TikTok video of Brandon Aiyuk, and I'm going to repeat this a lot because people who just join us aren't going to know what we're talking about. Brandon Aiyuk was talking on the phone, like a FaceTime, to Jaden Daniels. The whole thing was on TikTok.
Yeah.
And it picked up kind of in the middle, but Brandon Aiyuk does say they said they don't want me back. Okay. You asked me what my first thought was. My first thought is, well, first of all, do we know he was talking about specifically the 49ers and him? And now that I even get further away from it, I'm going to be honest with you, it could almost be a joke where he could say something like, yeah, my Allstate didn't want us back on the insurance policy. Now, I could be a buffoon for even thinking that.
Right. Willie Lump, as we say, right.
But I'm just saying, okay. Now, if you do think it's real, what does it mean? I mean, to me, we've seen this play out, and the way I look at these things, Goo, is wake me when he's not a Niner.
Okay. All right.
Otherwise, we've seen examples of this before when guys have done similar things and they're back with their teams. It's now become a part of some precursors to a negotiation.
Okay, but we do have a file in regard to, and again, I want Aiyuk and I want Klay Thompson in uniform with their Bay teams. We put it up, Evan, but we went viral. Evan, your profound question a week ago, who stays? One stay? Do they both stay? Are they both gone? And I said they're both gone. Right now, Aiyuk tweeted at, and this is fact, Steiny, at Mike Tomlin, we look alike. I told you with my spotty senses, that was kind of weird and odd. That's more than just that. But if this is what you got to do to get a number for your team, I'm out. I know it's a new world, social media. Steiny, I don't believe the Niners said, we don't want you back. They did that with a number that they exchanged with his camp, and that number is almost what I think is going on with Klay, to where they look at that number as an insult, insufficient, not enough. I'm thinking about my bank account, not enough. And that's why he's telling another player from another team where everybody can see and hear, they don't want me back.
I'd love to get fans' perspective on both Aiyuk and Klay Thompson and the whole social media thing. Because clearly social media is a part of everything. At the same time, it's just a part of everything. So let's say you are Mike Dunleavy and Klay Thompson takes off pictures and unfollows the Warriors.
Wow.
I mean, we don't even know if that took Mike Dunleavy by surprise, because maybe the Warriors already know Klay's upset with them, and somebody will now say, well, he's not unfollowed the Warriors, and Mike's saying, well.
But now publicly's involved. The public's involved.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's kind of what I'm asking 49er fans and Warrior fans is, in the grand scheme of things, do you now have a different feeling than you did, let's say, a month ago about whether these guys are going to return? Do you think that what each of these guys has done, Aiyuk and Klay Thompson, does it matter? Do you believe now that they are upset with their organizations or frustrated? Or do you think this is nothing? This is absolutely nothing. And I don't know what the answer is, because I'm not an expert on social media and why and how guys use it, but I'll just ask you, Goo. Since the end of the 49ers season and the end of the Warriors season, has anything Aiyuk and or Thompson done on social media made you think differently of anything?
Yes.
Kind of.
Yes.
Let's cut to the bottom line. Has it changed your belief in the percentage of they're coming back?
I love the question. I told you a few days ago, prior to these two examples happening, I think it's more, and I want to be wrong. This is the last time I will let social media dictate to me. I'm trusting. It's not, that's too strong. I'm believing. And somebody posted real quick here before I answer. It was kind of corny that Brandon Aiyuk and his girl recorded that. Now, you can do whatever you want, but that's what's happening. Steiny, $26 million is a lot of money. If Brandon Aiyuk think he's worth more than that, they don't want you back. They just got a point to where they feel like they can't go over. So for him to do that tells me I'm right. And for Klay Thompson to do what he did and then follow up removing every picture of him and the chef, that one hit me because there was a account showing every picture that was removed. I'm like, this dude's really trying to send a message that he's upset. So to answer your question without building your clock, and you just asked me the time, I think both of them are gone. And this is on top of, from a Brandon Aiyuk standpoint, the draft night, we all thought him or Debo might be traded. Ricky Pearsall getting drafted at your position? Why am I sitting here acting surprised? I want to throw water on my own face like, dummy. You thought they can afford in a year, they're trying to get back and avenge another Super Bowl loss, that they can afford just to redshirt a guy at wide receiver? Maybe Pearsall is Aiyuk's replacement. They don't want me back. I'm sorry.
888-957-9570 is the number. Social media with Klay and Brandon Aiyuk. I'm just fascinated by if it impacts the fan one way or the other, either in terms of how much you like the guy or don't like the guy, or does it impact at all kind of the odds that a certain guy's going to be back or not? Has it changed your mind? Let me ask Evan the same question. E.
Man,
I'd love to ask. So, E, let me ask you the same question that I asked Goo, and it's this.
Huh?
I actually like when he does that. I think it's kind of funny.
That's what we do.
I think it's kind of, I do. Okay, so has anything that Brandon Aiyuk done on social media and anything that Klay Thompson did on social media Friday when he unfollowed the Warriors on Instagram, do you think anything differently about their chances to re-sign because of what's happened on social media? Or is it any kind of insight as to what's going on as far as you can put it in the equation?
It is tough because Aiyuk's in extensions talk. Like, he's still technically under contract. So, but I will say, putting out a TikTok post from your personal account of you having a conversation saying, or I should say insinuating that the team that you're negotiating with doesn't want you back, that to me is more damning than what Klay Thompson did.
Gotcha.
Totally agree.
But does it lead you to believe, are you more so believing now that Aiyuk could be gone, I guess is what I'm saying?
Yes. Like at the beginning of the summer, I think we're all on the same page that Klay might leave, he might not leave. But obviously the Niners are obviously going to figure out a way to re-sign or extend Aiyuk. Now I don't feel as confident.
Interesting.
You asked me, I've studied. It's hammered home. And hopefully I'm wrong, but come on, man. Steiny, how can you not read like Evan said, why would you? And some are saying what Aiyuk did was more damning than what Klay did with the socials, but Brandon Aiyuk is apparently not happy. He's waiting, and he might be waiting or he's done waiting for a number that he feels is sufficient for him and his family. And for the Niners to, Steiny, if they do go down this road of we're going to give Brock Purdy blank check numbers, we don't know what it's going to be, this is a big year, and you don't have his services, Ricky Pearsall better be a damn good wide receiver in year one.
If I am leaning one way, it doesn't mean anything. But only because I feel like I've seen it with Debo. I feel like I saw it with Debo Samuel, and I know that when you're in the middle of an emotional negotiation, you know why didn't Rory want to talk to the media? Because he was emotional. He probably knew he was going to, or despondent or whatever. In a week he'll be able to talk about it. But I always feel like in terms of these, I don't know any more than anybody else. It's just a feeling I have, and the way look at sports. For me, the social media thing, it is kind of, okay, well, maybe he will leave. Maybe I do think he will leave more than I did 2 months ago, but I still need to see him leave before I'll believe it, because this happens sometimes with guys. Now, the Klay thing's interesting because he
scrubbed everything.
Yeah.
Why? Or does that lead you to believe the contract negotiations are going good? That's what it doesn't signal to me. That's what scares me.
Well, see, you know what? That's a great point. And
there's nothing in that tells me, everything's good.
That's
having
true.
Some positive conversation.
That's true. That is true. There's nobody that looks at those and says, oh, those guys are back.
Yeah, right.
Oh, they're definitely back.
Man.
So in that sense, there's no doubt it's probably not the most productive thing to do.
I hope I'm wrong, Evan. That was a great question. Evan put it out. Which one are you? There were 4 options. Aiyuk stays. Klay's gone. Klay stays. Ayuk's gone. They're both gone, or they both stay. And now I hate this feeling I have. I'm like, man, I guess.
What did you say? Because I
said they're both out.
I said they're both back.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, and that shocked
Evan
me.
said one of the other.
But Evan admitted, though, as firmly as he felt with these new examples, it's taking a little hit. He still feels like they'll stay, if I'm paraphrasing. But now there's like, man.
You know what bothers me more than anything about this type of talk? If let's say we played the game, and if you're just joining us, Goo and I had I'm gonna reset the whole thing.
Right.
Brandon Aiyuk on TikTok today was doing a FaceTime call with Jaden Daniels. He's the second pick in the draft, plays for the Commanders. They know each other from college back in the day. And on the while he's FaceTiming, Brandon Aiyuk says, they said they don't want me. They don't want me back. They said they don't want me back. And of course, Aiyuk's talking contract with the 49ers, and the natural assumption is he's talking about the Niners, and he's saying the Niners don't want him back. Klay Thompson similarly unfollows the Warriors, takes down some photos on Instagram. What does it all mean? That's essentially what we're talking about right now. The Aiyuk thing, to me, feels, I don't know, synthetic.
In what sense, though? I hear you.
I think there's a part of this where he could be just want to snooker somebody a little bit.
Who do you think has more leverage?
Brandon Aiyuk.
I'm going to say Clay. And Clay's leverage is from this standpoint. I have something to fall back on in regard to sentimental value. Like what you said Friday, the optics of the war. I don't think the Niners have it. Like, Brandon ain't been there long enough for, it'll still be bad. You leave, what happened? But he's not Clay. He's not part of the big three. Right. And I think maybe that's what's frying Clay's egg more is how much is that worth? And maybe they're not giving in. So to me, I feel like Clay has more leverage of it can look bad to the Bay and the fans if you guys look like you treated me like yesterday's. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I just think it's just so indicative when Evan said who's got more leverage. You went a little emotional.
Yeah.
You went Clay because of his championship. It's actually not. Actually, it's not necessarily emotional. But you cited his
to this market.
And the reason I think it's not even close is because leverage is, like, to me, Ayuk's coming into his prime. Like, I only looked at it from a business thing.
Yeah, but Ayuk's under contract. Technically, they could be like, dude, nothing to see.
You can also make the case that the 49ers have Ayuk's replacement. We don't know if the Warriors have Clay's replacement.
And that scares me.
I just know that Brandon Aiyuk has more years left in his career probably than Klay Thompson. It's one big way that I define, who's got more leverage. But it's a good question. I
think he's going to end up a Steeler.
Brandon Aiyuk.
Yeah, I do. I really think he's going to end up a Steeler, man.
Well, I remember when you asked the question about who's more likely to be here, and you said neither, and I said both. I mean, the only reason I said both, or the biggest reason I said both, is just because a lot of times we don't see trades. Just we talk about trades and guys switching teams more than they actually do. So I almost think the path of least resistance is both these guys will be back here. But if I'm wrong on this, like, it's not really wrong.
No,
this is all, no. But if it's just all a hunch.
But the two things you will admit, and you kind of just said it, and I'll just double back and ask you again and revisit.
Yeah.
The two things that are happening from the two guys whose future, if you want to say, is up in the air, there's no clarity. These two examples of what just happened this morning and over the weekend Friday with Clay are not good. They don't it doesn't send it in the other direction like, oh, the relationship is healthy. Give me that.
Well, I don't look at it like you. I don't look at it as though, like, okay, Warrior fan, you see what Clay did. We may lose him. Bad.
That's totally how I feel.
Bad.
Okay.
I look at it as, maybe Clay and the Warriors are at odds. And maybe Clay will walk. What's that mean basketball-wise?
Oh, okay. No, gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a vested interest in him staying or not. It's more, I believe absolutely that Clay could end up on another team.
All right.
I don't know what I'd bet on it, and I probably wouldn't bet.
Biggest thing story of the offseason in the Warriors under Joe Lacob. We talked about it. I could totally see him in another uniform, but it's how the optics, Donnie. Did they lowball him? Did they give him less than what they offered him? How do they feel about him and where he's at as a player? And for him to do that, and then I got to double back to this. I keep using that word. Why do you? I'm trying to read Draymond's. What is hilarious about this? Guys like me or even fans, pulling that on that emotional cord of it means so. Why do you think a guy that knows what's going on, that is out there in the Twitterverse, what is so hilarious to him?
I don't know, Goo.
That
really
hurt me.
don't.
That bothered me.
I don't like that either. And Goo's referring to Draymond Green being asked about, hey, what do you think about Clay scrubbing his social media? And he thought, all Draymond said was, it's hilarious. I just think it's hilarious. That's all he said. He thinks it's hilarious. But I do think there's something here with Brandon Aiyuk, who was FaceTiming Jaden Daniels and then posted on TikTok him saying, they said they don't want me back. And Klay Thompson kind of scrubbing the media. there's just something, I don't know. There's something about Aiyuk's